Hello and welcome to Locked In FPL. I'm back for the second ever episode with my special guest and co-host Linn at Linn_FPL on X. Today we're going to discuss the best Liverpool assets for the 24-25 season in Fantasy Premier League. I'm very excited as well to see everyone in the live chat coming with their questions. Linn and I have been friends for nearly 5 seasons now, and finally we're going to stream together. So very nice to have you on the show, and I'll tell the viewers a bit more about your help in the journey and the rebirth of the channel since the Net That Haul days to the Locked In FPL days. But yeah, welcome to the channel, Linn.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited what you are going to do with this channel going forward. I think it's going to be awesome.
Thank you so much. Your help has been invaluable. So if people don't know, Linn even helped with the FPL Meets logo originally a couple of years back. She's helped me with the channel name and logo this time around, and it is a work in progress. So we wanted to kind of just get on with it, rebrand the channel. And every week, generally on a Wednesday, I'm going to go live with a different guest, just have an informal fireside chat, talk about the key topics of that week. In the preseason, we will do them more frequently, and sometimes we'll go on a Tuesday like today. But generally, you can expect around 5, 6 p.m. on Tuesday, Wednesdays, or Thursdays every week. Preseason, I know you want more content, so we're just going to pump out loads. Newcastle last week, if you didn't see that, go check it with TT. Otherwise, I'm going to go straight into it then and ask you about this season because there's been some big changes. There has actually been rules added that has not happened in 8 seasons from what I remember. So I'm going to put those up on screen for the viewers and we'll start giving some shout outs in the chat afterwards. But what are your thoughts? Like, is there anything about the point scoring or the additional transfers or the mystery chip that excites you? Is there anything you really hate?
I hate the point scoring because I think if they should have changed it or done something, it would have been to make DMs and CBs more attractive. They've done the opposite. So yeah, I don't like that. But again, we will adjust and we will just get on with it. Regarding 5 free transfers, I think it's a great idea. I play a lot of fan team, and then you can roll the transfers. So I'm kind of used to having a lot of transfers and not just 2. So I like this a lot. It's going to be interesting because I think a lot of people will be trying, I need to save up to my 5 transfers so I can do this and that. And I think a lot of people will get caught out doing that. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting at least.
Yeah, no,
And
I'm very
regarding the
excited.
mystery ship, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, that one is a bit leaves a lot to be desired for sure. But I'm happy about the 5 free transfers. I'd say, like you as a fan team player, it was a new concept to me last season, and it was wild because randomly I'd realized I had loads stored up. So I think it helps both
Yeah.
casuals who forget to log in and also people like us who maybe want to try new
Hmm.
strategies. Hopefully, it diversifies the game a bit.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely mini wildcard a lot during a season, which might help. But also, I think people might get too caught up in, I need to save a transfer. I want to have 5 transfers so I can do a mini wildcard. And my after having a lot of transfers for fan team, for example, is just use your transfers when you need them. You don't need to save up. If you need them and use them.
And I think if you're going for a double premium team, it's likely you will need them unless you're rolling out the same first 11 every week. So if you
Mm.
go for a one premium draft, I suppose you could maybe roll them and rotate some defenders and strikers. But if you're going for double premium, likely you've got very cheap price points starting every week already, plus your thin bench. So I'm excited to see it. And you're right. I think hopefully some people will just, for the sake of storing them, store them and miss
Yeah.
out on living opportunities in a moment that it might be
Yeah,
possible.
some people, they're just hoarders. They just want, I'm going to have 5 transfers. I'm rich. I've got 5 transfers. That's not going to work.
I love that. But enough of the rules, as you say. I'm sure as the season goes on, we'll learn more about them. But I want to know more about you as a manager, like how you got into FPL, because I know you play a lot of different fantasy sports. You may be the only other person I know who is as keen to be in as many different group chats or formats or games or tournaments or compete online. So I honestly think like we must be in, I don't know how many group chats we must be in together, but obviously we're not active in all of them, but it must be double digits minimum.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's maybe 15, 20, I would guess.
Wow.
Mm.
Every format, right? It's a shame they killed off
Yeah.
Sky. But yeah, we just love
Yeah.
fantasy. So tell us about Linn. What's your kind of style of play, I guess, is kind of where we're
I've
leaning
got,
towards. Like, how did you get into FPL? How many seasons maybe have you played? What's your favorite memory?
yeah, that's a good question. I've been playing since 2011. So that's a lot of years. I don't actually want to think about how many years it is.
So I've played for
But yeah.
11 seasons and I started in 2012, I think it was.
Mm.
But I started in the 2012-2013 season. So it was like my
Mm.
first job out of university, and there was a work league, and that's how I got into it. I don't know if it was
Ah,
similar for you,
okay,
maybe.
okay.
Was it
Well,
friends, family, colleagues?
my then boyfriend loved football. I wasn't really into football at that time, but I'm very competitive. So when he suggested, we can just make a league and you can see if you can beat me, I'm like, yeah, I'm game. And that's when it started. I just love beating people at their own game, especially men. Can't
I
help
know
it.
you love competing, and I know that we pull each other's legs often, especially about Liverpool and Arsenal. But today, I'm excited that we can get your perspective on Liverpool because I think it will be far more valuable for the viewers than
Yeah.
my perspective. So that's exciting.
Mm.
In terms of your favorite memory, though, like I guess one of those might be beating some ungrateful men. But apart from those kind of memories and winning mini leagues, what kind of moment can you remember, like an asset that maybe you capped in the
It's
differential favorite moment, I guess?
Well, it's kind of retrospective because I didn't know a lot about football the first couple of years I played FPL. But apparently I did quite well because I remember at the time there was a bar at the top of the app saying, congratulations, you're top 1% of the world playing FPL. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I don't think there's that many people playing. I had no idea how many people were playing. And looking back at that season, I ended 2K and I knew
That was probably
nothing.
your best, right, ever. And I
Yeah,
have you
yeah,
beaten that?
no.
Not right. That's like a once in a
Mhm,
lifetime kind of finish for most
mhm.
normal people like us. I know there's some crazy people like, 5, 6, 7 top 10Ks in a row, consecutive ones, etc. But we both also
Yeah.
know a lot of people create a new account once they learn how to play and then only have that history so that it ranks better in like Hall of Fame
Mhm,
sites and stats. So
mhm.
we own our history. I have my 7-digit finishes, but that's crazy. I had a 7-digit finish. Worst ever was my first year. Your
Yeah,
best ever was your first year.
yeah.
That is crazy. We had
But you
total
kept
polar
playing even though
opposites.
you kept playing though, even though you had a really bad rank?
I don't know whether
Or
it's like it shows that I don't learn because I say in life it's good to fail quick. You know what I mean? Like you want to, if you're making
Mhm.
mistakes, you kind of want to move past them and move on to the next thing first, rather than keep trying at something that isn't going to work. Beating a dead horse, I think we call it the saying. Do you have
Yeah,
a
yeah.
equivalent saying in your nation? For our viewers on podcast, they might not know.
Yeah,
Obviously, if
we
they're on
have we
Twitter.
have basically the same one. And yeah, I'm Swedish, so that's why my English is a bit wonky.
Well, I'm glad you clarified. I've had Irish people on here, and our good old friend and co-host at the time, 5 seasons ago now. It feels crazy saying
Mm.
that. Was
Yeah.
Hibbo, and me and him used to do a show
Mm.
together on here on Net That Haul in the first season. And people used to ask for subtitles, and he's like, from like Republic of Ireland, growing up his whole life right here. Mother
Yeah.
tongue is English, and so people are brutal. I know what you mean on social media, online. So yeah, definitely, it's a tough world out there. So let's keep going because we're 8 minutes in. I think it's a good time to start
Mm.
doing some shout outs in the chat, and then we'll go straight to the Liverpool. I almost said Arsenal. The Liverpool assets. I'm always thinking about Arsenal. There's something definitely wrong with me. Um,
Mm.
so before we talk about Liverpool, just a couple quick shout outs to everyone in the chat. If you're on podcast, I will timestamp when the Liverpool section starts so you can skip ahead and click 15-second forward on a few times. But FPL Esto first here tonight. Hi, they might actually have 4 Liverpool assets, but that option was missing. So I have a poll live on YouTube. If you're watching live, please do vote in that. Vote for how many Liverpool assets you're going to have. I like the idea of having 4 by owning someone like Gordon if you think he's going to move there. So good to see you, buddy. That's quite fun. Getty FPL, good evening, all. We got a few other shout outs. FPL Sparta, good to see you, mate. Thanks for tuning in. We got Blonde, one of our haulers on YouTube. Hi, all. It's the most wonderful time of the year. FPL Maggot, good evening. Linn FPL, good evening. There's a lot of good evenings here. We got BW Splitter, howdy, all. Couple others we have here. Mark Dorney, afternoon. Good to see you, Mark. Tommy Gunn, afternoon, everyone. Good to see you. And then I'm going to just star your questions, guys, and we'll come back to these questions as soon as we can. So there will be a timestamp for the Q&A too if you can't make it through. So this is just a lineup, Linn, of your last friendly. For anyone on
Mm.
podcast, you had Kelleher starting in goal, Bradley at right back with Quansah and Konate in centre back with Simicas at left back. You had a midfield three of Curtis Jones, Ryan Gravenberg, and Harvey Elliott. Front three of Mohamed Salah, Diego Jota, and Fabio Carvalho. I can see on the side, if you're on YouTube, you can look at it. If you're on podcast, I'm not going to read it, but something like 10 players or more subbed on as well. So very much just to get minutes into legs, manager get sight of everyone. You still slapped up Manchester United 3-0 regardless with Mr. I don't play any friendlies Ten Hag. But despite that, tell us how you feel as a fan going into the season. So before we talk about FPL and FPL assets, just as a fan's point of view, how excited are you about like what's going to happen? Are you worried? I know some players only just came back yesterday from the international teams as well, so they're obviously missing from here, like Nunez and Diaz, and I think Gakpo as well potentially. So there's a lot of people who've not been back. What are your thoughts, just non FPL wise?
I'm so excited about this. I was a bit sad and worried after Klopp deciding to leave because he's been fantastic manager, proper legend. But then we got Arne Slot, and he's got a similar style of play as Liverpool, but a bit different at the same time. But he can build on what Klopp has built so far and just continues the legacy. And I think he's done a great job, and I'm super excited about this season. I think we will either win the league or we will end up at the bottom. With this tactic with Slot, it's the in between isn't going to happen. It's either top or bottom.
I like that a lot. I think I've seen a few people panicking. There's that Twitter account that used to write some good analysis. The Tacticos accounts, as they call them, non-whiffing, I think AI as he's called, or whatever, Al as he wants to call himself. But he's been oozing about how much he loves Slot and how the aura is mental. And he's saying we need to win it as Arsenal in the next couple of seasons. It's just a matter of when Slot gets his signings. He's like, there's an actual real threat now. Like even if Pep and City leave, there's now a real contender again in Slot and Liverpool. So he's just like, we need to go while we're at the top of our rebuild and before, because you've got some all-timers, right? You've probably got like 3 all-time players on their last legs. I don't know how many more seasons you can get from them. So you could win it, as you say, because he already has the all-timers there. So maybe you don't need those new signings necessarily, but I imagine you probably want a couple for depth. Other than that, though, like he could still win it straight out. But I just see it as those 3, right? Those 3 teams. That's all I see right now for next season. I don't think anyone else is going to compete.
Yeah, and then because his style is quite similar to Klopp's, they're thinking the same way. They want to press, and they want to bit of heavy metal. They want to attack, but Slot is a bit. I mean, I love Klopp, but he is a bit chaotic. Like Slot kind of just takes it down to possession. We're gonna own this game. We're gonna go forward. We're gonna make this happen. We're gonna be in control. While Klopp has been like, full on, let's go. So there's a difference there, but they've got the same kind of, I don't know, similar traits in the way they want to play.
Sorry, I muted myself. I was getting sent WhatsApp messages insulting me for not reading out the compliment on air. I will read it out. Maybe I was just embarrassed to start the pod so early, praising myself with your lovely words, FPL Discomfort. But he's also happy to see you, Linn. I know he can't see your FPL content these days, so at least on this medium, he has the chance to hear your insights. And thank God the Euros days are over, because I remember the dramatic ways of scoring.
Yeah, we should. Oh, that's what FPL should have done. Should have had ball recoveries, and then would have been a game changer
rather than bonus point changes, right? That's what you were saying earlier about you didn't really think that was your favorite thing. Okay, so just a few things. I will say this from FPL Discomfort, because there's a nice shout out to Craig, who joined for the first show of the preseason. He did a great video on all 3 of the new managers, man on pod Craig. So if you're listening, you want to hear more about the managers, we're going to perhaps talk more about actually now FPL assets, I think, going forwards, Linn. But yeah, if you want to hear about more on the tactical side, guys, and Slot and what he's done before, and 2 other managers, do check out Craig. He's a lovely guy. So let's keep going. So FPL assets. I've obviously put Diego Jota on the thumbnail. He's someone who everyone's touting as potentially playing centre forward. He gave out his own exciting quotes about there's no one else here, but I thought he just meant in pre-season, right? Like surely, like Darwin's also put out messages saying he got text messages from Slot saying the new era is with Darwin at centre forward. So is it the case that FPL community is just getting really excited about this like potential out of position player in Jota, but in reality, will Darwin be back sooner? I guess is what I'm asking.
I think Darwin will be back sooner. I'm not sure which one of them will actually start first game week. I think they will be sharing minutes. Jota is a very versatile player, so he can play other roles than just striker. But that's kind of Darwin's main thing. So I think we will see him there starting most games going forward. From game week 1, we don't know because he's just back. But it does seem there is some truth to the rumors that Slot might have called him up and said, "You're part of the plan." Because
Yeah,
at the end
those
of the
rumors were
season,
new. Yeah, so
yeah,
are those just rumors rather than like they're not verified, right? Like how can they be? They're
no,
just
it was from Mirror,
hearsay.
so you can't really tell. But then again, he had removed everything Liverpool related on his Instagram, but now he's back branded Liverpool. So something has happened, something has gone down, and he seems happy and keen to get going this season. So I think there's been talks, and I think he could be a really good player for Slot, the way he wants to play. So I think we will see Darwin up top, and we're just waiting for him to break out, don't we? Because we know he's a quality player. We know he's had a bit of a, I guess, confidence issues, head ghost or something. But yeah, Darwin Núñez, this could be his season.
So for context, right? So obviously Salah 12.5 million this season, Darwin 7.5 million forward. I know different position, but it's a significant sum of money, right? It's 5 million. So when you look at that, the XGI for Salah is obviously much higher last season. It was 28.4 on the Opta stats for like from FF Hub, and then it's 20.6 for Darwin. So you look at that and you're like, okay, 20.6 was his predicted goal involvement, and you got 22 goal involvement. So we talk about how he underperforms his numbers, he's not clinical, this, but if this is him at his worst, then in a slot system, maybe I do want to have that guy who's going to have that many stabs at the cherry, and maybe this team and the way it's going to play, and then slight nuance to it compared to the way Klopp plays, even though it's maybe similar, is going to be what unlocks him. We say this every preseason. Everyone always says, no, Darwin's a donkey. How could you? But I'm like you. I think I believe that there is a player there. And it's because when I saw him at the Emirates, even 2 seasons ago, the year he signed, I remember there was a couple of times he got called out offside, but the way he was playing, I was like, if I was a centre back, I would never want to play against him. Like, especially like when you look at like even Saliba and Gabriel, they're happy to battle you. They're happy to fight like an immobile, large, hefty striker who just they lump the ball up to him and he jumps in the air like Chris Wood, like 7 foot tall, and tries to bring it down and fight you. And they relish the challenge of the battle, right? Like they're warriors. What they don't want is the guy doing what Darwin does and just the elite movement I saw. Seeing it from that angle and that part of the pitch, it was like a FIFA view I had. I was honestly like, oh my lord, whoever can figure out, which manager figures out how to get the best out of this guy. He like as an athlete, he's phenomenal. Like, people
Yeah.
don't realize how young he is. Like he's still so much younger, but because he's been around over the years, we think like, oh yeah, like if he's not done it yet, like it must be done for him. But no, I'm
Yeah,
glad that you
definitely.
mentioned him, because I went off on a big rant about him, but actually I think there were some questions as well, which we'll get to in the Q&A, about like who do you think will get the second most points for Liverpool this season. So I'll leave you to think about that for the rest of the show. They assumed Salah would get the most, but anything about the defense, because we talked a little bit about the attack. Salah, I think we won't spend too much time on, because it's kind of clear like why he's a good FPL asset. So I think the real question of the show is, would you have 3? And if you had 3, which ones? So I think I would start with Salah, and he's currently been in my team since the game launched. Trent's been there
Yeah.
too, but that's a question mark because he's only just got back, right? So I'd love to know your thoughts about the defense in general,
Yeah.
Trent, these kind of questions.
I absolutely love Trent, and I will probably own him later in the season, maybe not too far in the future. I don't currently have him in my team, and that's because he's so expensive, and I've got really budget in defense for the start of the season. So my team is not balanced at the moment. It's going to be balanced, but I don't trust any team to keep a clean sheet at the start. So I'm going budget. Therefore, no Trent. On the other hand, I do have 3 Liverpool players, and that's Salah, of course, Darwin, bit of a gamble, and Kwanzaa.
I like that. So there were some questions about Kwanzaa. Yeah, tell us what's going on there, because I know we've seen him a few times over the last few seasons. Maybe he's not played as many minutes as other players have, but do you see this as his year? I think last year I can see here he had about 1,200 minutes in the Prem. So is this the year you see him getting like more of a secure role, or is it just because
I
of
would,
people coming back
uh,
late?
yeah, I think Liverpool are trying to shop for a new centre back. So depending on who might come in, he could be ex-Mint. But in general, I think he will prefer to Konate because Konate is not that good on the ball, and Slot wants ball-playing centre-backs.
It's funny you say this because for years, lots of I don't want to put this on you, but lots of Liverpool fans have been laughing at Arsenal because Kanate was starting ahead of Saliba for the French team, and they were saying how he's better than him. And now it looks like it was so weird because everyone said they wanted Upamecano dropped, but he ended up being the one to make that pairing with Saliba at the Euros for the first time. So I never it's just interesting for me, obviously, having seen Konate then not play as the starting pair there. Now you're talking about that even Kwanzaa potentially offers something that maybe is going to be what Slot wants more than what Konate does. So it does feel like it's a bit tough time for Konate, is what I'm, I guess, saying, because his international and league manager might have different views. And it's a new regime, right? Like everyone has to prove themselves for the first time to Slot. Like just because you were signed before and you were the starting guy doesn't mean you are anymore. There's just a lot of change potentially incoming.
Konate is not a bad player. He's really good, but it depends on how you want to play your team. And Slot wants to play the ball from the back. He wants to own the ball and have a lot of possession from the back, which doesn't necessarily suit Konate. He's more of a traditional centre back, tall and heavy.
He's your warrior. He's the Gabriel to your Van Dijk. Like our Gabriel to our Saliba. It's like you have the graceful swan, and then you have the guy who's ready to battle. So you know what they say? He's just like Gabriel, actually, because they said who would survive the zombie apocalypse the most? The interviewer, and they were asking Saliba and some of these guys, and they were like, "Oh, would it be Gabriel?" And they were like, "No, he'd be the first one to go." And they were like, "Why?" They go, "Because he would run straight out and be ready to fight. Like as soon as zombies arrive, Gabriel." So that's the kind of defender they are. And I love that personality. It's infectious, but one to watch. Any thoughts on Harvey Elliott? I've really liked him over the years. Do you see him, or maybe does he have a starting role in this team?
I think he could actually start because he's really proved himself both at the end of season last year and through the preseason here. And the way Slot plays, he wants to have a really, what can you say, a midfield that interchange a lot. So there won't be like a proper number 10 because the DMs and the number 10 will kind of swap places. But I think it will be Harvey Elliott or Jota that gets that spot. And behind him, there will be McAllister and Szoboszlai. But both McAllister and Szoboszlai can swap into that number 10 role, or they could have two number 10s. That's kind of how Slot wants to play it. So it's going to be, I think there are going to be a lot of assists coming from the number 10 role, but it's at this time, we don't know if it's going to be Elliott, Szoboszlai, or Jota.
I think for me personally, so as a Salah owner, I mentioned I've also had Trent the whole time. So I've only had two. And a big part of me is actually now considering the triple up, but going with Salah and Jota as a double up in midfield. I have Gordon. And even before the move, if I felt that I thought Jota would start even game week 1 by itself against Ipswich, I would still go for that double up over Gordon. And especially if he comes to Liverpool, I'd definitely be selling him from my draft. So right now he's there, but it's the same price point. And I think he's one of your greatest players, to be honest. But for him, it always feels like you just don't know how long he'll stay fit. And there's no slight on him, but maybe when you play in a certain way, you're more explosive, more conducive to like muscle injuries.
Yeah, maybe he's better suited as a super sub coming on for the last 20 minutes and just rocking it hard.
So it could be like the long-term Darwin is the one up top, and then he comes on as the impact, as you say. Maybe you have Gakpo on the left, you got Salah on the right. So yeah, I could see that. The Gakpo, Darwin, Salah is the ultimate front 3-1 at some point, basically. But to start the season, though, it feels that there is an opportunity for someone like an Elliott to get himself into the lineup, for Jota as well, to get himself in. And then it becomes a battle, because if he's really good, then Darwin's the one who's going to have to be fighting to like come on at left wing ahead of Gakpo, for example, if he wanted to start too, right? So I think it's really cool. There's like 3 players for those 2 positions. Is there any positions, I guess, finally, that you think you would want to sign someone in? So is there a particular position in the squad that you feel you don't have enough cover or depth for?
A good playing CB and then a number 6. I think that's the positions we could actually strengthen quite a bit.
You don't want to play a McAllister there at the 6 then?
Well, he works, but the way Slot wants to play seems he wants to have 2 number 6s. So McAllister needs a good partner, and then Szoboszlai and Elliott can have the number 10 role, and they can just rotate.
I like that. Is there so in terms of, just to go back to the 3 best Liverpool assets before we continue, I'm trying to make sure I got them down. So we know the 3 you have in your team. Do you believe those are the best 3? So if Price was no question, because you've also got Quansah there as one of the 3, who would be the 3rd player you would have if Price was no question? Darwin, Salah, and
Trent's no question. I think he could actually rival Salah for points this season, like total points. I think it's going to be amazing. Because if we look back at the way Slot plays, and this is a question also, will Trent play in midfield? Will he play left back? Will Bradley come in and then move Trent into midfield?
Because one of the questions is about Bradley. Let's talk about Bradley more in the Q&A, because then that gives us a good section there, just specifically about Bradley versus Trent. Trent in midfield, though, we did see it for England, and we have seen it for Liverpool here and there, so it's not out of the question.
No, I do think it's out of the question. That's the thing.
You don't want to see it, yeah.
He needs more time to be a good midfielder. That's what the take from watching him play for England. He's a good player, but he needs more experience, basically.
In that position,
but also the way, if we go back to the way Slot wants to play, he wants to have the wing backs to come in and play almost like a number 10 when we attack. So that's something Trent and Robertson are used to. They played more like that a couple of seasons ago, but I think we will see it a lot more this season under Slot again. So I would say that both Trent and Robertson are excellent options this year. Possibly Robertson at his price might be the better option, but I think Trent will get a lot of goals and a lot of assists this year.
Yeah, I think he's so actually, talking of that, this might be a good segue to this. So I have some of the stats, like updated ones, which I've been putting each week from was it RobTFPL stats on Twitter. So if we just quickly go and have a look at some of these. So there's 2 of them. There's the season top projected goal involvement, and there's RobTFPL on X if you're looking, and also the goal involvement for defenders. So I think this is where we can look at Trent specifically, but we'll come back to that. Let's just do it in order for the podcast viewers. I'm always so chaotic like this. So 27 minutes 33, if you're listening on podcast, now would be the best time to come and see the season top projected goal involvements. This is updated on the 6th of August today, so it's a big update since last time. Some players have changed. So the news of Alvarez leaving has bumped up Foden by 2.25 goals. De Bruyne's gone up by 1 goal. Grealish and Doku gone up by 1 goal. Silva by half a goal. So you can see that impact there. There's also a new goal scorer market added for Xerxes and Smith Rowe. So Xerxes in there on 12.1 and Smith Rowe on 10.8 goal involvements projected. This is not something I'm going to spend much on, but I've got it here. Should we in the Q&A, Linn, want to come back to it? But it will be interesting to compare your draft. I think we'll go to that swiftly. And then if there's players in your draft, we can compare them to this as well. Because there's Mateta here, for example. He's a very interesting one. And I know he's at the Olympics, so maybe doesn't start straight away in game week 1. But I'm trying to find these gems. So I'm keen to see. I know your team might get I say rate and slate, but I don't know how many rates it might get versus slates. For anyone in the chat, please do give us your scores on Linn's team when we get there. But yeah, 28 minutes, as I mentioned, timestamp for the season-long goal involvements for the podcast viewers. And then we'll just quickly touch on this one, which is the projected goal involvement for defenders. This one is a 29-minute timestamp if you want to see this graphic from the podcast. So this one, Linn, has Trent at 13.9 projected goal involvements, 3.6 goals, 10.3 assists. Behind him in second is Porro with 11.4, Trippier with 9.3. See what happens there. Robertson, 8.4. And then James sneaks in as well, 8.1. There's some new additions to the likes of Byrne, Romero, Hall, Shaw, Davis have been added since last week. And yeah, what are your thoughts on this, I guess? Because instantly I thought of this when he said Trent's going to get the most goals and assists in the defense.
Yeah, and definitely. I think actually he will get a lot more goals than we expect because of the way he wants to play. But I think Robertson will be close second, not far from him. I think we're seeing the season a couple of years ago when Trent and Robertson were kind of competing against each other, trying to get the most assists. So I think we'll be back to those days under Slot. And yeah, and other than that, you've got Porro here as well. Munoz, yeah. One interesting player on this is Leif Davis of Ipswich. What are your thoughts on him?
So I've seen a few people bringing him up recently. Everyone's getting really hot on him. I guess I do love to get players that no one else will own. So there is that. But I'm going to be honest with you. He's not even in my thoughts because I've tried to play by this mantra now where I'm like, personally, I just want like the players from the top teams. So like I would rather be that guy who has all my 11 and like they're made up of City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Newcastle, and that's it. Because those are the four teams I think are going to get top four, and then just like play them and have a dead bench. If he could be someone that I could rotate in and out, I'd be interested. I'll be honest, I had no idea he was projected 7 goals and goal involvement, sorry, on the model from the betting markets. So yeah, I don't say much about Ipswich. I don't know much about their tactics, how they play, but I'm not going to go into it when they've got Liverpool and City as the first
No,
two
it's
games.
tough
So it's
start,
definitely a
isn't
watch
it?
and see, right? I think it's a watch and see for me. He's someone who like I'm starting with Trent maybe or Guardiola or someone, and like they say, if it doesn't work out, huge downgrade, make some money, turn some average midfielder into like a Saka, Foden, Palmer or something, or Bruno, I don't know, Odegaard. So he's like my backup. He's just if he comes good, I'll go there. But I've not personally looked at him. But why do you ask? Is he someone that you think I should get like in my draft? Because I'm doing like a couple drafts with you, right? We also do draft leagues, official draft, fan
Yeah.
tracks draft.
Well, since you're in my drafts, like all of them, I say don't touch him because I want him.
Well, I've also in another draft tonight, and that one is an
Yeah.
official FPL one. So maybe that's the one I go for. Next week, I'll leave him for you. It's like Ben Berrington Davies last year. I remember Ben Berrington Diaz. I kept going on about him, and then I never ended up picking him on the Zoom call when we were doing the draft league. Cool. Let's look at your team. So 32 minutes in, if you want to come in the podcast to see Linn's draft. This is different to some of the ones I've seen on the timeline for sure. So this is your game week 1 draft for the podcast listeners. Henderson in goal with Turner. We got Guardiola, Pedro Porro, Quansah, midfielder Mo Salah, Martinelli, Eze, Gordon, and Rogers. Haaland and Darwin up top with Muniz, Barco, and Harwood Bellis on the bench. What are your thoughts? What's going on here? So I guess the ones I'm most interested in are Quansah, which we've already discussed a bit. Henderson in goal, I want to know about, and then your rotation, like your 8 attackers, Muniz and Rogers. Like, how do you see that playing out?
Well, basically, I've tried to pick a team that I want to play. Like this starting 11 is the team I want to play the next 4 or 5 game weeks, and I don't plan to use the bench much unless it's needed. And yeah, and then wildcard because I tend to do wildcard early, just to kind of get more information and then go with it. And previously, that's worked pretty well. So yeah, starting 11 is the guys I want, and then the bench is the guys I kind of need as backups. But what I will have to do is I need probably to downgrade Muniz to maybe go Pedro or someone and upgrade my goalkeepers because I can't have Turner as my second goalkeeper, even though I realized that.
Yeah, I started with double. I think what did I have? I had a double Chelsea goalkeeper. Then I went to double Forest goalkeeper for like a day. Now I'm on double Brentford goalkeeper. So it's like that's like pretty much the only transfers I've made since launch day, apart from like I changed a 4 million defender. I changed Harwood Bellis for Barco, I think, or something like that. So it's I try to not too much drafting. I don't really like it. I want to wait for Community Shield, see all the friendlies, look how many signings come in, injuries. Like I just rather just take in information. TT told us about Newcastle. You're telling us about Liverpool this week. Like bit by bit, I love this part. Like just putting together the jigsaw, doing some draft leagues, having to pick players I might not have thought of, and having new perspectives because my picks are gone. Like this is just the best part for me. It's like there's no red arrows yet, no suffering. This is the best part of the season. What else do we have going? So let me. I think what we can do with this part, Linn, is we can kind of take some questions, but also, guys, in the chat, do give us your ratings if you have any ratings for for Linn's team. Someone really likes it actually, Linn. So you've had Tommy Gunn commenting spicy draft so far. We have a lot of people liking this. Let me just check the poll. I'm going to close the poll, guys. So about 37 votes so far. It says how many Liverpool assets will you have in your game week 1 team? 13% of people will have no Liverpool assets. 32% will have one. 39% will have two, and 16% will have three. So currently in your draft of three of them, Linn, you are kind of almost as many people also have zero as have three. And then I think one or two is popular. So either Salah or Trent, maybe both. I think that's kind of what I'm reading in this. So that's quite good. Yeah, no, I like that because there's been years where you wouldn't even gain from like the defender you have from a premium team, whether it's Arsenal, City, or Liverpool, if you didn't have two, or if your one defender didn't get an attacking return, for example. So it's good to start the season. I hope it stays this way with EOs that are not just like all above 100% for the top teams immediately. That's it's hopefully the pricing fixes that. But any other? I'm just trying to think. Rogers, I want to ask you about, and Eze, because with Eze, are you not like worried about obviously like Elise leaving, or do you think that you just like the manager and you think it's going to carry on the way it did under Glasner?
Yeah, I think he was their talisman last season. I like talisman players. They are usually my go-to if I can afford them. So yeah, I think with the fixtures they have, he's pretty nailed on in my team.
Fair. No, I like that. I think Martinelli, I just want to comment on actually because he's someone who I don't have. I really
That's
want
your
Saka.
suggestion, actually.
I know that's the funny thing because you were asking about him and Trossard, I think. Yeah, because I know you've always had that thing where you've had like the Arsenal left winger when other people didn't. And then like you've always tried to time it to perfection to have them at the right time. It is quite fun. So for me, I think it's an exciting time for him. I'm also confident. Obviously, there's the friendly on Wednesday and Sunday. Prior to those, I feel like going into game week 1, like he's going to be starting at left wing. And I think reality is, unless he stinks it up for a few games, then you start to see the minutes go down or maybe the start disappear because he's going to be competing with Jesus, with Trossard. Like there's going to be a lot going on there. But on the flip side, he finally has a functioning left-hand side behind him, hopefully. So there's a lot more depth than just Zinchenko, Tomiyasu, who both get injured a lot. We now got kind of Calafiori and Timbers back. We got Marino hopefully signing. He could be the kind of Xhaka role, I suppose, or the next iteration of it. So it's finally like that left-hand side should not be as dysfunctional as last season, I think. And I think this is probably what's most exciting about your team for me is I just love that Martinelli pick. Like to me, that's like the Jota pick. So if I could, right, I would just go Jota and Martinelli. I would have both to start the season. But they both come with so much risk, right? But that's exciting. And I know that's when we talk about what kind of
That's
FPL
kind of
manager you are.
yeah, and I like risk. I love differential. I don't really care. I'm playing FPL to have fun, so I don't look too much at AO and things like that. Just if you want a player, put him in a team. If you got feeling is saying put this player in your team, do it. It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's I guess why I have Martinelli as one of my players. And
Do you
Darwin, by the
remember
way.
that season? Oh gosh, like so the season obviously last season wasn't great, but I'm hoping he has his redemption season. But the season before, that first kind of title challenge season that was totally unexpected from fifth place to then doing that. That one was a bit more fun for him. So I think he got 15 goals at the time and he matched it. He tied the record for the most goals in a Premier League season from a Brazilian player in the Premier League. So I think Firmino also has 15. That's the record. So he got injured. He missed the last few games. I remember we then didn't win the title and I was like, damn, and he's injured and he didn't break the record. He's tied with Firmino. So hopefully he's young enough that that record becomes his own eventually. Maybe this is that season and maybe me and you can capitalize. But he is someone who will be in my team early in every draft because I know people will be sidetracked with other picks and I'll just sneak in there and swoop him. So if you're playing any kind of draft format, let me know what you guys think in the chat. Like I know Kieran's an Arsenal fan, Tommy Gunn's an Arsenal fan. Would you guys be going for Martinelli in a draft? Let us know. I think in the interest of getting to the Q&A link, there's a lot of questions. I've already started 12 of them, plus there's 4 from before the show. Let's continue going. I'm going to thank all the members and the Patreon. So on YouTube, our members, the super haulers to start with, FPL Robbie, Greenback Golf, Harbour Boy, and David Harrison. Thank you so much for your support. We also have our haulers, Dread FPL, Podner, Kevin Rose, Blonde, FPL Teacher, Donny FPL, Tom Gorsuch, Lindsay, Akshay, Dom, Claire FPL, Tursks, Catherine A, Harry Not Kane, Neil, Benjamin Lockwood, FPL Rubber Ducky, Big Mike, Grady, Jasker and Singh, FPL Eric, BW Splitter, and of course the FPL Juice Show. Last but not least, our patrons, Elron, FPL California, Mike Burke, Draft Alchemy, and Dr. Green Thumb. Thank you guys so much for all your support, for helping keep the channel going and staying loyal beyond the Net That Haul years as the Phoenix rises again from the flames. But we want to go to the Q&A, Linn. So also 40 minutes in, before we answer all your questions, if we answer your question, please do hit that like button. First time I'm plugging the like. If you enjoyed this episode, please do subscribe if you're new around here. We'd love to be able to show you all the content we have planned for the season ahead. And there's going to be lots of exciting guests coming. In fact, Linn, today I actually secured my kind of favorite guest so far of the last 4 seasons, and it's Mark McGettigan from FPL General. So really excited that at some point.
Cool. Yeah,
some point this season, I'm very excited because he is a great FPL manager.
Definitely tune in for that. Yeah.
And last season he came on in the preseason, told us his rules of thumb, how he plays. And it is honestly fascinating hearing from someone who's played for that long and done so well, so consistently. So lots of great managers coming on like that. And I'm hoping you will come back as well, Linn, at some point. And actually, on that note, there's a couple of points to make. So we're a few minutes away from 6 p.m. UK to timestamp this. If you're watching live, we are going to redirect automatically to the FPL Juice Show to thank them for them redirecting to us 2 weeks ago. So please do just stay on the channel and let us know in the live chat once you see they've actually gone live. And we'll also try to get out at the same time so you can redirect straight there. So shout out to Nick, Ash, and James from FPL Juice. Love to them. On the other side of things, Linn, we'll tell people in the chat what we're thinking to do next week. So there'll be a rate my team or roast my team, as I like to call it, next Wednesday. I have FPL Fella and Plonker on to rate everyone's teams. You can send your teams in advance. It's great fun every preseason. Sometimes it takes like an hour, 2 hours. There's like 100 teams to go through. It is hilarious. So join us for that one next Wednesday. But we're considering doing a special, aren't we, Linn, for our SKLW Scout Community Tournament team. We're doing a draft, and rather than a Zoom call, we're thinking just to stream it on the channel. So let us know what you guys in the chat think. But what are your thoughts then? Do you think people will like the team members of the SKLW, the behind the scenes, get to see their competitors and how we think?
It's always fun, isn't it? Just to be a fly on the wall and see what people think and hear their thoughts.
Especially when you've got someone as handsome as Andy Mack, who I don't know if he can join this one live, but he has promised to join at some point. And he's a former winner of FPL. He's actually won FPL, right? So that's mad.
Randy Shafter should be there too.
Randy will be there. We've got a few people. We've got Sophie. She's obviously a great pundit as well in your neck of the woods. No, it should be great. Let us know, guys, in the chat.
It's going to be a very competitive draft, I think.
Should be good. I'm looking forward to practicing in the one tonight that's less competitive. So I'm really raring to go on Sunday and Tuesday for the next 2 that we have together. But let me just timestamp this without further ado. 43 minutes in, if you just want to come straight to the Q&A. There's a lot of questions that have come in. I will start with the ones that came before the show, guys. So the first one was non-FPL related, Linn. It's for you, and we're going to go quick fire. So Akib asks, will there be banana pizza?
Always.
Always.
Have you had it yet, Nima? Have you had it?
No. So that's what I was worried about asking this question live, is you might make me do a forfeit or a wager for the season that I have to try it if something doesn't happen.
It's going to happen. It's going out. We have to make a bet sometime during the season.
While we have the chance, we'll do it. But I really haven't done it yet, but let's see how it goes. For anyone who doesn't know, Linn is a big fan of banana pizza. That I guess the ingredients include kind of curry powder and bananas and peanuts. And I hear it's very popular in the Scandinavian countries, especially Sweden and Norway, or
not
Sweden.
Probably not in Scandinavian. It's just a Swedish thing. I don't know. We like to put like dishes out on a pizza. Like this dish is called a Flying Jacob originally. So it's like chicken, peanuts, curry powder, and banana, and it's delicious. It's so good.
So many people have such an adverse reaction to whenever you talk about it or take a photo. It is scary stuff. But hopefully, I don't lose the wager. But if I have to take ownership of my bad decision making, I will try it for the first time. After 4 years, you've nabbed me. I've been pinned down live on air.
Try it. You're going to like it. I mean,
not everyone said that though. Not everyone said they liked it who's been forced by you to try it.
No, they're just like playing hard to get something because their initial reaction is, "Oh, this is not so bad. It's actually quite nice." And then after some time, like, "Nah, I didn't like it." So they kind of forget their first reaction, is
They're
my thinking.
posturing. I think they're posturing
Mhm.
just because they don't want to admit it. You're
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah,
You're totally
exactly.
spot on. So, question from
Mm.
Prince from X. So, they asked Gakpo and Nunez, who is better to have in your team? I imagine because you've got Nunez right now that you would say that. But what are your thoughts
Yeah.
over the course of the season, I suppose? Like, if you were going to predict, you'd still say Darwin?
Yeah, I think he will be the main striker for Liverpool. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So, FPL Sparta says, will Jota start this season? And who do you think will be the second highest Liverpool FPL point scorer over the season? With Salah being
Uh,
first.
I, I'm not sure Jota will start. He might be used as a super sub more than a starter. But it also depends on injuries and all sorts, of course. But I wouldn't mind him because in 20, 30 minutes, he could do a lot of damage. So if he's on a roll, just go for him. He's a good player.
I hope Sparta
And
appreciates the use. I said, who do you think? I saw it spelled Y-O-U-S, and I was like, this is definitely Scottish. I was like, I don't know if I can do this, but I tried. I tried.
you did well. And for second, that's Trent Alexander-Arnold. Yeah, no
Cool.
doubt.
All right. So Dom Black Dragon says, looking at the preseason performance of Bradley, is 4.5 million. Is he nailed for right back? He says it's a very loaded word. Then he says, or will Trent claim that position from game week 1? And what are the chances Trent plays out of position? So is 4.5 million Bradley nailed, or is Trent going to start, or is Trent going to be forced to a different position?
This is kind of sad because I think Bradley's done an excellent job. He's been so good when he come on for Liverpool. Uh, but Trent is out of his league. Trent is world-class player, hard to touch, so he's going to start. I don't think we will see him out of position as in starting as a midfielder, but I think he will frequently come in as the role as a number 10 when he's playing.
Cool. No, that's fair. I think we're just going to power through now because I know that there is going to be imminently Juice starting, and I do definitely want to send people that way. But please, if you're enjoying this episode, as I mentioned, and supporting me in the new venture as the channel is reborn as Locked In FPL, please subscribe if you're new around here, or if you're on Spotify, do come back and let me know what you think. Give us feedback. I tried to put like a poll on Spotify after as well, so feel free to, if you're a Spotify listener, you don't know that exists, please do vote in those polls and I can bring them up each episode. So FPL Esther said, any news about Gordon? So I think this was to do with the Liverpool move. The only news I'd seen, right, was that he's basically like on contract standoff and he's not accepting the new offer Newcastle are giving him, and he's making it difficult and trying to force their hand to sell him. So that's basically what I saw today. That was the latest, mate. FPL Maggot says Jota is a great player, but should I have them in the team? But he's always injured. He is injured at times. I think that is frustrating, but it can happen to anyone. I don't know if it's like, I would say, unique to him, but I suppose with players like this, you always remember the bad times. And it's like the
Mm,
kind of the people who triple captain Mane for the 1 pointer and he went off injured in the first half for the first of the double game week, and Salah
mm,
triple captain has got great return, right? So it's always going to be that try to not think about what's happened before. Every season, yes, I like the previous data, but I try to see like, is a new manager, new system, chance for him to do whatever. I just like to watch people now under the new world and just see if something changes, basically. Like, honestly, players can change. Like, I've seen players who've been injury prone go and do certain exercises and do more like mobility stuff and like more yoga and Pilates and extend their kind of longevity or better improve their resistance to injury or like recovery rates. And every professional footballer is playing with an injury of some sort. So the reality is, I think everyone's always injured. We just don't know
mm,
how injured they are or to what level and which part. But they are playing through injury. These are playing the top of the sport against each other week in, week out. They are injured. I think they're all injured. It's not just Jota. That's all I'm saying. So keep an eye out. See how he changes. See if anything happens. So Elron Cupboard, one of our patrons, they mentioned the Anfield Rap guys are big on Quanza starting in game week 1. So we've actually found someone in the chat who also has Quanza in their team. You've opened my eyes a bit. If I don't go for Trent, I should explore that. Jota 7.5 million. Getty FPL is interested in them. Let's keep going to the questions so that we can couple things. So FPL discomfort. I promise I didn't not read out your message. He thought I was banned from saying his name on the channel while you were live on air, because that's why I skipped over his comment earlier. But it was too early to see what he was saying. He was saying, seeing Nima's beautiful face, hearing his dulcet voice, and incredible insights makes my week. I honestly don't know if like the AI wrote that or if he did, but I appreciate it nonetheless, Kieran. Big love for that. So Finn Cox Harrison has a question on their team, Linn. What do you think about their team at the moment? It's a 3-4-3 and Kunku and Konsa on the bench. And then for the podcast listeners, I won't waste their time reading it out. I'll just let you give your opinion on the team.
There's no Salah in this team, and that's going to hurt a lot. But besides that, I don't love the Livramento pick until it's rock solid and he's maybe played a game or two. Yeah. The rest are Gordon, Saka, Esse, Hudson-Odoi. Don't love Hudson-Odoi. I think there are better options. Isaac, Haaland, Muniz. It's not a bad team. It's nothing that fills me with excitement, but it's not a bad team.
Fair. No, I think it's a pretty, I like it. It's a good team. So about Konate, 96th percentile for passes attempted amongst all centre backs, but 67th percentile for completion. I think that paints 1,000 words. The FPL veteran, Nima and Linn. I'm not going to butcher this. I'll let you read that out. Is it Hey Mordu?
Hey Mordu.
Hey Mordu.
So it should be Hey Hur mår du? Which is like, hey, how you doing in Swedish?
Hey Mordu. Hey Mordu.
Hey Hur mår du?
I'm going to try and learn some Swedish while we're here. So yeah, actually, Kieran and Veteran as well. Good to see you, buddy. Sean, they've started their Double Pivot podcast. They have covered the Ipswich attack as well, I think. So guys, go check that out. He likes the Darwin shout, by the way, but it's broken his heart too much. So I think he's going to avoid that. Michael Scott is a good question. It's about Liverpool as well to an extent. What should we look for in the final 2 pre-season games to persuade us to include Darwin and Trent in our teams?
Basically, when it comes to Trent, I don't think there's a question mark. Just get him in. For Darwin, like I said, I'm not sure who's going to start up top. Is it Jota or Darwin for the first couple of game weeks? I think they will be rotating. So if you're unsure, maybe not go for either one. If you want to just take a bit of a gamble, I would say go for Darwin, and then just look at any preseason games, look for the news, see what Slot says in his interviews, and then good luck.
Sounds good. Just one thing, CK Low, I don't know if I can see your draft. Did you put it in the live chat or did you send it on Twitter? Let me know. And as we go through these final questions, I'll come back to you. If you can give us your team, yeah, of course, happy to give you our thoughts. So what do we have? We have Elron Cupboard asks, any Scandinavian players you think might make it to the Premier League in the next year or two?
Well, we just had a Swedish player join Tottenham Hotspurs, Bergvall. And he is a young player, but so good and so excited. He's so good with the ball, and he's gonna break into the Premier League this season, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's looking good. They got Kulusevski and Bergvall, who are both Swedish, and yeah, I'm excited.
As well, thank you for becoming a YouTube member, FPL Discomfort. You're all still haulers until we figure out what the equivalent of a hauler is for Locked In FPL. I need my version of a Swifty. I don't know if it's a Nimty or something, but that sounds pretty shit. And yeah, I don't want to. There's also some comments that maybe aren't so family friendly, but in the context of the fact that I said I'm going to roast your teams next week, I guess it's fair enough to say that. I'm sure I remember Milk was a bad choice from last week, I think, or at some point on a comment. Good to see you again. Thank you for tuning in. They'd like me to roast them. So send me your team for next week for sure. We have Tommy Gunn's comment, just a comment. I wish I was brave enough and think Martinelli could do well, but I'll probably avoid to begin with. That makes me want him so much more. The Fantasy Pavilion, big up Nima. Good to see you, my buddy. Jared, good to see you, my friend. On that note, guys, as I say, even though I'm going to aim to do every Wednesday, on Thursday at 8 p.m. UK, I think roughly, I'm going to try go live with the Fantasy Pavilion who's in the chat. And we're going to talk about the untouchables. So these are players that we don't want to frame it as differentials like everyone else. These are untouchables in the sense that people don't want to touch them. So we want to explore assets that are like genuinely untouchable and no one has picked and no one wants. And I'm just gonna have a great time because I know he loves players that are a bit more maverick. And over the years, when I've played with Fantasy Pavilion, he's been here in the comments crucifying me when I've slated players he wants to buy in the live chat. And every time, like Connor Cody, they just keep scoring, they keep scoring, they keep scoring. So it's going to be good to finally go on a show with him after he's been slating me for all these years for my not backing his bold claims. And I want to see what players he brings with him when he comes. So FPL veteran, with rolling up to 5 transfers now, are people booking in their wildcard too soon? Unless you have a poor start, you can probably hold. I think people are overcommitting to just like, I'm definitely going to wildcard by a certain time. Like, I might plan to wildcard in 4 or 6 or build a team for 4 weeks or 6 weeks, but if I can avoid using it when the time comes, I will. But that's the type of manager I am. I don't know. You said you prefer to wildcard early, right, Linn?
Yeah, and I was so wildcard early, most likely. And that's simply because we don't have enough information at the start of the season to make the good decisions. So it's a bit of a gamble the first 3 to 5 game weeks, I would say. And then we have more information. Transfers have been done. We know what teams have got what players, how they like to set up. And I would rather use my wild card early and then try to save transfers to have a mini wild card later than just try to save my wild card.
Fair. So Colm on this same topic is going to try and maybe look at a wild card in game week 6 or 8 or wait right till the end, like game week 18. So I think I've been guilty of many times delaying till the last possible weeks. And this is a ridiculous comment to make, but I remember having to make like a wild card between like a match on Boxing Day and a match on like Christmas Day or something. Like there's been some madnesses. So I don't particularly in the time of the holidays want to be looking at wild cards in a congested period and like who knows who will start 3 games in a week and like and the new Champions League format, God knows what impact that will have on them by the time we get to game week, whatever it is. So I'll probably try and use it within the first, second, third international break early on, like September, October, November, and hope that I've gained enough insight to move forward. Esto, thanks for the answer. I've already subbed and liked before the discussion started. You are a legend, Esto. Thank you so much for joining us on the channel. So CK Lowe's team, we're going to answer this. We're going to answer Richard's question as well, and then we will get out of here. So CK Lowe's team is Vladimirson plus Henderson or Johnston in goal. Defense of Trent, Anderson, Mikolenko, Guardiola, Barco. Midfield of Rogers and Kunku, Eze, Son, Andreas. Forward line of Haaland, Havertz, Isaac. I like that. I've not seen Haaland, Havertz, Isaac front three. I've seen Havertz be like a 5.5, but to see him there, that and Son, I really like this team, man. Like, it's a bit different to what I've seen, but is there anything major missing? Would you say, Linn? Like, still has the single premium in Trent. I know there's no Salah, but for a Haaland draft, and it looks really good.
Yeah, I'm a bit skeptical towards Rogers and Andreas in midfield.
Yeah, I guess
because we've got so
them.
many good midfielders at good prices. So it's and Kunke as well. Actually, is a bit of a I wouldn't say doubt, but an unknown entity.
But it's how would you go up, right? So, like, if you needed to, I guess, unless you were to downgrade, say, Haaland or Havertz at some point, or Trent, none of those other free midfielders like Rogers and Kunku Andreas are going to get you to the 8-9 million midfielder at the Foden, Palmer, Saka. Like, there's so many good midfielders that might be hard to maneuver to. For the first couple of weeks, though, I could see this team. I like it. I wonder if maybe downgrading Trent slightly would give you a slightly better, like, additional midfielder to add to Son. Because right now, like, apart from Son, that midfield is pretty light, personally, for me. But my first thoughts are I would give this like an 8.5 out of 10. That can be like next week. I'll obviously, send your teams with the screenshot. It's a bit easier for me to see them and see what I think about the structure. But yeah, we're going to do a proper RMT next Wednesday, like roast my team. This question from Richard's quite a big one, so I don't know how it will form our quickfire round. But if you weren't here earlier, Richard, I will timestamp the Liverpool discussion for like 10, 15, 20 minutes, all about like from the fan perspective, going into the season, expectations, predictions, all of that stuff. So if you're asking because you've joined a bit later, then it will be there. But right now, we'll also, on the way out, answer this question in but super high level, because I'm sure we discussed some of this at least before. So the question from Richard is, could you please provide an analysis, breakdown, and predictions of Liverpool's upcoming Premier League, Champions League, FA Cup, and EFL Cup competitions? Also, what players will they buy?
Yeah, it's a bit much to get into right now, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So at a
Uh,
high level, my question
yeah,
to you, because we discussed most of it, but what would you, I guess, you already said you think they're going to win the Premier League, so you've answered this question, but where do you kind of see yourself in total? Like, do you said you want to get a ball playing centre back and a number six primarily in the market. You don't know if you will, but that's what you want. You think you'll either win the Premier League or totally like burn out, and then it's time for a rebuild. So it's like I agree with that. What about the other cups though? Like, what do you think about those? Like, do you think you're going to win a cup with Slot in his first season? Like, it's a bit early to
yeah, I
tell,
think
isn't it?
we'll. No, it's early, of course, but I think we'll definitely win something. And I think we've got a pretty good team. We haven't had this broader team and so many good players in the same positions as we have had this season. Like we've got Bradley and we've got a lot of youngsters in midfield by Curtis Jones, we've got Elliott, and they can all compete at a high level. So FA Cup, EFL Cup, here we come.
Nice. Okay, so Juice has started as well. So I've finally been told in the live chat. So we will try to redirect everyone there. If you go from this channel, once I end the stream shortly, I've got one more question. Once we do that, please do let them know you've raiding the channel from Locked In FPL and let them know we're sending the love their way. One question from Hamza before we go, and shout out to Ignatius as well for joining, buddy. Good to see you. Hamza asked, will Darwin start? I guess we talked about this a bit, but you have Darwin in your team and you're not as convinced Jota will start in game week 1 as maybe other people are being right now.
No, I think yes, Slot needs to prove to Darwin that he's meaning business, that he's meaning that he wants to have him as the main striker. And therefore, I think Darwin will start. I think he will get at least 60 minutes, but I think then Jota as well will come on. So I would say for the starting spot, I would say Darwin 70% chance of starting.
Nice. Cool. So I've just switched the show out. We're going to get out of here, Linn. It's been a pleasure. It's as always, it's great to catch up with you. Hopefully, we'll see you at one of these FPL meets again in the future or a fest or something. I keep missing game week 38 last couple of seasons, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the draft leagues. A lot of fun. We'll try to get some stuff going in this season. Hopefully, we can also work together to get the branding of the channel going. I'll be back on Thursday with Fantasy Pavilion to talk about the untouchables, assets no one's talking about or owns. Maybe it should be undesirables even as well. But next Tuesday, we're going to be back with our team, SKLW League team, doing our draft league. And then again on Wednesday, I'll be back with Feda and Plonka to roast your team. So start getting those drafts ready for next week. Thank you, Linn. People can find Linn on X at Linn_FPL. You can find it in the video and podcast description to get to her account. Follow her and stay in touch about all things Liverpool and any format of fantasy, not even just football. We're talking golf, Formula One, fantasy politics, fantasy, anything you can find. Linn will be there. So, yes, guys, thank you for tuning in. Go enjoy Juice. And cheers for being here for the preseason, Linn. It's good to start out the new channel with you and with some of the crew fella coming. Like our whole team is coming. It's nice to get the support from you guys. Neymarless ones for
Yeah,
the win.
yeah, nice to be on, and good luck to everyone this season.
Thank you, everyone. See you guys next time. Cheers.